5. Welcome to Whisky.com, where fine spirits meet. My name is Horst Lüning. I'm the master taster of Whisky.com, and this is my son Ben, and he's quite busy on the computer because we had some problems last time.
I think we're on now. First time I made it with a new event system.
So we tried a week ago.
But I think we started a bit with a countdown.
So. So we tried a week ago, or it's a fortnight ago?
Fortnight ago, I think, yeah, 14 days ago.
And so we really was struck by YouTube. It was horrible. In the meantime, we tested a little bit, and this time we got screwed up with the schedule, with the summertime. So yeah, so I'm sorry. There were only 2 guys waiting for us. And now how many are online?
14, 16. Yeah, they're coming.
They're coming. So just have a little bit of chat before we really start.
I really don't like the new system from YouTube. Now we had 2 events and a bit of a confusion ongoing, and even we didn't know when to start, if we started at 8 p.m. Central European time or at 9 p.m. So now we started at 8:30.
The one who is late will be upset, and the other would have said, yeah. So the best would be we're starting at 4 a.m.
in the morning, yeah. So we have the Americans on our side and kind of Asia also a bit on our side. Mm-hmm. Yeah.
So that would be the right time to start. But this time we're looking after the distillery Auchentoshan, which is a lowland distillery, which is, well, it's growing in popularity. The lowlands are getting more and more. So I know of 2 or 3 distilleries already operating fresh in the lowlands. And this is a view of Auchentoshan, which is, well, today at the outskirts of Glasgow, and just beside the Erskine Bridge if you're coming from the airport, and just head to the right, and then you're really into Auchentoshan. And it's a wonderful, small, beautiful, white-colored distillery, and it has tours where you can visit the distillery and get really a lot of information. And
I've never been into the distillery, but every time you drive to Campbelltown, Islay,
you pass it,
or any island whiskey, you always pass, and you're like, I could stop for an Auchentoshan. Yeah. And it really looks nice.
It lies above the shore of the River Clyde, and the warehouses reside there. So in former times it was very important to have the Clyde there for shipping the whiskey. And it was founded I looked up the data, it was founded in 1800. And 1800 was a year where the production of malt whiskey in the Highlands was forbidden.
Oh yeah, it was usually every distillery starts at 1824.
24, when the licenses were permitted, and Auchentoshan, they were able to produce earlier.
Yeah.
So this was a clear advantage. And but the company went bankrupt in 1822. No idea why. Probably
because of the high concentration of competitors rising up.
Yeah, but it was still illegal in 1822.
1822. I thought that was about the time when it went legal.
Probably they went ahead a little early. So this is a particular specialty of Auchentoshan. Here you can see in this picture an old still, which is not a really old still, which just looks as an old still because the stills of Auchentoshan look different. And we will later on have a look, but they look beautiful there. And you can see how the city of Glasgow moved into the distillery just to the warehouses. You can see the buildings. They are from the 60s to 70s when they reached the distillery. Here's another picture. yeah, this is a view from the entrance to the distillery, where another pot still is situated outside the warehouse, the main warehouse, where you also are able to visit. We see later on a picture of it. So this is the introduction to Auchentoshan.
So we start off with the Auchentoshan American Oak.
Yes, this is quite a new one. And so today I having the lead in tasting or in talking, because I was there 2 or 3 times already, and you've never been there. So this time it's talking for me. And the American Oak is a successor to the old, I think it was called Select or something like that, which is a whiskey without an age statement. But this one got a better cask selection, because it's a lot of fresh American white oak casks.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, so here we go. I hope you had been able to get your fingers on some of these whiskies.
I think they promote this one with first fill bourbon barrels.
Mm-hmm.
That it's pure first fill bourbon barrels, but still it's an entry level whiskey, and an Auchentoshan I would actually recommend to a straight, a beginner. Your first time whiskey, an Auchentoshan is the right choice, because it's
the Auchentoshan
mild.
has a 3-fold distillation with 3 stills. And this leads to a raw whiskey with an ABV of 80, so 160 proof. And this 80 ABV leads to very smooth and not burning alcohol in the whiskey.
Mm-hmm.
And therefore you also do not see the young age of a whiskey, because this rough metallic note of a fresh whiskey isn't there if you distill it very high. So there's no problem to have no age statement on it.
So if anybody has that at home and you're trying with us, then please feel free to write it already in the comments, because we are 25 seconds ahead or something like that. It's incredible how much lag there is now for live video. If you have 25 seconds, is it still live video? Yes. We do have people from all around the world. Bangkok, Budapest, Canada, Basel, Lucerne, South Africa.
Whoops. Yeah.
Yeah, Canada, he said good morning. Good morning. hope you have your Auchentoshan ready. Nah, seriously. It's hard to have an international live tasting.
Yeah. So this is a fresh, young whiskey showing vanilla, coconut, which are the main aromas from American white oak, fresh American white oak bourbon barrels. And behind that is citrus fruit, which is very typical for younger whiskies. And so you have this fresh, probably a little zesty citrus note, together with the vanilla and the coconut. And this is a light and gentle start.
Yeah, it is definitely a light and gentle whiskey. It's a fresh one. It's definitely has that slight bourbon style with vanilla, a bit of caramel. But from my point of view, it's very fresh and fruity. Fresh fruits like coconut, citrus, as you mentioned. Definitely.
Is coconut a fruit or a nut? It's a fruit, isn't it?
I think it's a nut, but I'm not sure.
Yeah. So, and if you nose a little longer on that, you find some peaches probably. Yeah. Yeah. 40% ABV. Neat. really shows some impact. The little white pepper in it. So definitely not expected. No, not really.
It's got more punch in the taste than it has in the mouth. It is not a very mature whiskey, but it's a fresh one, it's a light one, it's a pleasant one. You don't have that alcoholic burn. It's smooth, not smooth, but it's light, light and nice and sweet. Also, good amount of sweetness. So from my point of view, definitely a beginner's whiskey.
We have to, or I have to add that there is some aftertaste.
Yeah,
in it.
The taste is quite intense.
Quite intense and
for
an oaky note in the aftertaste.
The oaky note, yeah, definitely.
So the definitely fresh American white oak. Yeah.
Just got here, American oak, question mark. Yes, American oak.
So typically
we start with the American oak.
Yeah. Typically this American white oak should be more gentle. Not that spicy. It shows a little bit of coffee or
punch and oak. Definitely, it got a cask character, but I don't find it to be a. There's no bitterness at all. You could imagine a bit of bitterness in the very
aftertaste.
In the aftertaste in the very end, but still, I'm staying with my verdict. Perfect beginner's whiskey, or kind of a
if you look at the blended,
chill out dram.
If you look at the blended whiskies, they typically have this light oaky note in the aftertaste, so they are used to it. So I'll leave something in my glass for having comparisons to the next one. So here we go, and now we're moving over.
Do we have anybody
questions? Yes.
Joe M. Again, we do read the comments on YouTube, but we don't comment on YouTube. And here's a guy who always comments on our videos, and it's going up to you. The word is available, not no, wait, I'm not sure how to pronounce available. I think he says available with a V and not with a W. Is it available? Available? Available?
Whatever on your tongue is available.
We're Germans, not Americans, so it's available.
And even if you talk with an American and then you listen to an Englishman.
Tomatoes. Weird. I'm not sure how you pronounce it, but...
Yeah, next
guy. Okay. How's it going on? Comprades? Oh, it's going good.
That's Spain.
Yeah.
Comprades is comrades.
$31.99 US. Sounds like a good value. That's cheap. That's cheaper as in Europe.
No.
A bit. Little bit. Okay.
Not too much.
Good afternoon from New York. Great job. Don't pay attention to Joe. He's a troll. Yeah, he is, but I'd really like to know now how you spell available.
We'll look it up afterwards.
Hoss says it with a V. Yeah, that doesn't tell me anything now.
It's written with a V.
It's written with... No, a W. Sorry, not V. Yeah. It's a German V. Yeah, so let's continue with the distillery.
Yeah. So here you see the 3 pot stills of Auchentoshan, and you see this constriction above the pot before the neck rises up, and this constriction leads to a very stable, undisturbed alcohol vapor column on top of the pot. And in this alcohol vapor column...
what the... Oh my god, I'm not allowed to type. Sorry. I'm not allowed to type. Here you go.
Okay. And this constriction leads to this stable alcohol vapor column on top of it, and this leads to more separated alcohols in it. And in the end, only the lighter, smoother, more pleasant notes are going over the top to the line arm, or into the line arm to the condensers. And you see this constriction pieces with all 3 stills. And in the beginning, if you looked at the stills outside, they did not show this constriction. They were completely different, and I'm not aware that they changed the stills in the last decades.
So
I'm not aware.
Probably an old change.
And either very old, or they looked it up for decoration at a still graveyard at Forsyth in Rothes. There are plenty to see.
We would want to have that one.
Yeah. And then you can see on the right-hand side, it's the wash still. You can see the windows down at the pot and in the neck.
Oh, they do have a window at the bottom.
Yeah, at the bottom.
Never
That's
seen
quite
that
new.
before.
There you can see when the liquid really starts to boil, and then you're boiling it, heating it up as much as you can until you see the boiling liquid in the upper window, and then you know, oh, that's enough. And if this wash is going over into the condenser, then you have to clean it up. It's a huge mess if that happens. And then the apprentice has to go out cleaning.
And it's dangerous if you clog the condenser, because the condenser has a little mesh in it, so you can clog it. Then you have an overpressure.
Yes, but you can see.
And then when you cool it down, you get an underpressure and it collapses.
Yeah, then you can see on the left-hand side in the spirit still, just on the half of the height or 2/3 of the height, you can see the security valve where you can, which looks after overpressure and as well under pressure.
Yeah.
So if that's not all right, then you have real disaster in the stills. The middle is the intermediate still. So you burn with full power on the wash still. So that is fast. Then you go over to the intermediate still. You burn again quite fast. And then you go over to the spirit still and you're going slow. Because there you have the full separation of the compounds. And if you look carefully, you see that the spirit still is quite big compared to the intermediate still. So I think, I'm not quite sure, that they are collecting more than one output of the intermediate still, and then probably they're running half as fast in the spirit still.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So that's with this picture. And here you see the spirit and sample safe, and this is really something really special because it contains more valves and more handles on it, because you have those three stills all going through. On the right hand side it's the wash distillate. There you can do nothing, you just start and you stop, that's all. Then there is the intermediate distillate, and on the top of that you have a knob which you can turn to move the liquid coming out of the still either back into the feeding vessel or out to the receiver, and from then on to the spirit still. And on the left hand side you see a spindle with which you can measure the density of the liquid, and together with the temperature in the next tube you can look up in the table and see how much ABV you have, and from this ABV you decide either to go back to the feeder or in the receiver. Yeah, a wonderful piece of work, this thing. Yeah, that's it. And,
so what are we following? We're following with the 12-year-old, right?
More questions?
Nope. Just there's a bit of a discussion going on. The community is defending against you because they don't want to talk about your accent, and they look over what you, I don't know, that you're non-native English. So he says, Christopher Fallon, we all enjoy Horst and his reviews. No need to bring up his non-native English video. Yeah, we're Germans. We definitely have a bit of a German accent. And I don't care if anybody brings it up.
The most spoken language in the world is not Chinese, it's not Spanish, it's bad English.
So we're the most spoken.
Yeah.
I don't think we're that bad in English. I think people can understand us. What are the age of spirits in 3-wood? Oh, that's a question for the 3-wood.
It's a question for 3-wood. I will come to that. The next one is the 12-year-old, and this one is the successor to the old 10 years. And there had been several different kind and shapes of bottles. In the beginning they had this standard liquor bottle, and after that they changed to a 3-label bottle, and it was very expensive, and then they changed.
Whoa. We just got a super chat. I never got that. Love your channel, guys. Cheers. €5 from Mark Pfister.
Thank you very much.
Thank you very much. I didn't know that I even had that feature.
Yeah.
And where does it actually... How do we get that?
Where the advertisement.
With the advertising, probably. Definitely. Yeah, sure. Thanks.
Yeah. Thank you. Cheers.
Cheers.
How's his name? Mark. Thank you, Mark. And so this 3-label bottle was then discontinued due to cost reasons, and now they have this. This bottle. It has quite some advantages because it's broader than thick, and then you can see the whiskey more. You can see more of the color of the whiskey, of the liquid, and not only label, and that helps a lot selling that whiskey. And the 12 years of age help as well. And so I liked it very much, hearing that they changed to a 12-year-old, but I think that's already 5-8 years ago. Yeah, minimum.
I think this one is a bit deeper. You do get more of a sherry influence, and it's just, you realize it's more mature, very, very round, but not as fresh. I'm really excited about how intense the taste is gonna be.
Yeah, it's a lot more mature and shows some depth and definitely sherry. Sherry in contrast to the 100% ex-bourbon. But it's clear that it's not 100% sherry, and it's not a finished whiskey, but I think it's a mixed whiskey from sherried cask and unsherried casks.
Mm-hmm.
Sure.
Yeah. I think it was first fill and Oloroso.
Not only first fill, definitely. Where should they go with the used American oak first fill? They have to go into these two.
Oloroso sherry casks. Oh, okay. Fine North American oak casks. Yeah, the ones that have been used here are gonna be reused here and boosted with the sherry oak.
Yeah.
Okay. Cheers.
Yeah. Cheers, Mark. In the beginning, a little watery, not too strong on the tongue, but with some time, it's getting stronger and stronger, and it's sweeter. And then in the aftertaste, again, this spicy, oaky note, but everything is more settled. Everything is a little bit more complex. Some citrus notes.
There are definitely some citrus notes in there, but they are covered with a lot of sherry and matureness. Somehow it's just this roundness with a bit of oak. There's a little bit of bitterness going on as well.
12 years.
But it's a well matured one. I would definitely say the base character is the same. I'm not sure if I'm talking totally nonsense now, but is the distillery character, isn't it citric?
The distillery character should be nearly not.
Oh yeah, they're triple distilled, so they're
triple distilled, so they're quite
pretty clean. Yeah.
But those fresh citrus and peach notes we had in the American white oak should be a little bit more oxidized in this one, and they are definitely. And there's some. I would say the sherry note is not that strong. You definitely feel the sherry casks.
It's not a sherry bomb, but
it's not a sherry bomb. No.
It's a well balanced sherry whiskey.
Yeah, and the smell is really deep and full. So there's a lot from the casks coming out.
It's a nice sipping by whiskey, like when you in the evening when you just want to have a bit of a balanced whiskey. Just you could have it as a complex whiskey, but not a deep complex whiskey, but
Smooth.
a smooth whiskey. Definitely, when you want to have something smooth, then that's the right choice for you.
But in the aftertaste, you have this sherry cask, which showed you some bitterness. Yeah.
There's definitely more strength to it. It's definitely
Giving a back kick.
a bit of the bigger brother of the American oak, with that sherry touch. Okay, I do have some questions now. Joined later. Are you working with a special collection?
No.
No, we are actually a whiskey shop, so
No.
a whiskey
Special collection of...
Oh, we're tasting right now. No, this is the standard range of
this is
Auchentoshan.
the standard range, and there's a miniature set out there.
Oh yeah, we do have the miniature set, but I think after the German take, we put it away.
So those miniatures, they contain all those three. So probably you're able to get that somewhere at your local dealer.
Yeah, if you want to try out the Auchentoshan, it's really nice to have the miniature set. When we can send it to the customers in Germany, it's very nice. All the people who watched the video with us, even though last time it also went a bit wrong, we still had, I don't know, 400 people on there. And it's really nice because they all have the miniature set and they're all tasting with us. So I can really advise you to buy a miniature set because you're just tasting more of the variety of the whole whiskey scene.
Yeah, and if the whiskey does not fit your taste, then you
don't
don't spend too much money. And
you don't have to spend that much. But these are all in the like 30, 35 range now. So these are not too expensive. Okay,
Yeah.
so where can you get this whiskey glass? That's your project, isn't it?
Yeah, so it's in the forum. We run a forum on Whisky.com. There are always some questions where I can get the whiskey glass. So it's my own design for that glass, and now we're having numbers, but shipping them all around the world is really expensive. So we shipped some to Seattle, I think, and we had a bill of $40 or $45 for shipping, and on top of that is the price for the glasses. So, but they made it completely, so not one broke. So it's not that easy to ship them. We're still looking for some distribution. No idea how we will match that. But if you have friends in Germany,
Yeah, we kind of specialized on sending whiskey to Germany and very specialized on the German market. And now
yeah, because there's a lot of red tape work going on inside the EC and to other countries, because there's this duty on whiskey especially. And today.
Are we live or are we not alive?
Yes, it says good.
But there's a red means good. Oh man.
And
when we left,
shipping glasses. And,
shipping glasses.
Yeah, so and there's a lot, and today I've seen the first invoice with the extra duty from the EC on whiskey, on American whiskey.
Yeah,
the first invoice, 25%.
25% tax. The vengeance tax. Okay, actually there are some of Horst's videos in German of certain bottles that he not reviewed in English. A translated remake of those would be appreciated very much.
Yeah, definitely.
I think we're up to the anniversary of the 2000s video is now coming up for the German channel. I'm not sure how much.
And we have 700 or so
no,
on
the
English.
English was 700 something.
So there are 1,300 missing.
1,300 missing.
So which one, please? But yes, we're trying to have more videos on the English channel so that we keep up or chase for an equality in publication. But we're still far away from that. But I try. It's fun to try.
Greetings from Mexico. Sadly, I don't think Auchentoshan is available in Mexico. That's unfortunate.
Yeah.
Are you able to make it north to the US Jill? It has good distribution in the US.
No, sorry. So we just have problems shipping outside Germany. The laws are so harsh and incredible. Yeah.
I lost my train. Here. What is your favorite whiskey, Horst?
That's the typical question. And the typical answer is there is none. I took a video lately for the best whiskies in my last 25 years.
So what was the best whiskeys then?
No, those dozen whiskeys were the best ones. And you can't tell that this is the best one because it's a journey. You start with it and you end, and there's a Scottish rhyme saying, if you're able to find the right amount of whiskey you sip every day, then you live forever. So I try, but a lot of people try, but no one succeeded so far in.
Okay. Something going on about tequila. What about non-chill filtration and artificial coloring with Auchentoshan?
Auchentoshan is chill filtered because it's only 40% ABV, 80 proof, and unfortunately it's colored. But I think the coloring is not that strong. It's just for the equalization of the different colors of the batches, because this one is fresh American white oak. This gives a lot of potential for coloring the whiskey. And the 3-wood we are coming to in a few minutes is has a lot of potential from those different casks and sherry and port casks. So there's a lot of color, natural color in that as well. Why they still color artificially, I have no idea. So there's no need for it. I think they are.
When you look at the price, then you look at the target group, and the target group unfortunately is I think beginners, and they don't want to have the whiskey go cloudy. They don't know what's happening with the whiskey goes cloudy, and they want to see a
dark one.
A dark one. That's probably the reason why. It's just an economic factor, but I would like to have them without coloring, without chill filtration as well.
And there are only a few countries out there which require the mentioning of color on the back.
Oh yeah, that's strange, isn't it?
Yeah, and so they have no pressure to undo that. But with the new regulation in the European community, this law or this regulation from the EC, which is a law to particular countries, will put pressure on stating that. But there is an exception for alcoholic beverages. Yeah. Lobby.
Robbie, how often do you get drunk during tasting review?
Never.
You feel it slightly when you do 2 whole sets of 4 whiskeys in 3 hours of streaming. You do feel in the end a bit, but
look at
drunk.
At what I've tasted in here. It's just a little bit, just a sip, and this means if you're drinking a bottle of beer, even a light one, you have 10 times the amount of alcohol in this light bottle of beer. So the amount of alcohol in a whiskey thoughtfully savored is so few, so little. So you can't get drunk with that. No chance. So
if you do it whole day long, if I go to the whiskey fair, in the end you have tasted too much and you're feeling a bit woozy. It's not like drunk that you fall over or something, but you're feeling a bit woozy, and it's.
There are differences in the countries. In Germany or in the southern or in France or so, the whiskey fairs are many days, and they start at 10, 11, and they end in the morning, and they end at 9 p.m. And in the U.S., there had been a whiskey fair in New York City, in Manhattan, and they had just 3 hours. They were allowed just 3 hours. And
3 hours?
They gave out tickets with a flat rate, and they went from booth to booth. So
that's wrong, that's wrong.
If you want to restrict that,
then people gonna get drunk. It's not the idea.
No, it's not the right idea.
But are they actually people trying to advertise on these fairs? Then, if you only have 3 hours, you can't really promote your brand in 3 hours.
The last one was bad.
The last one was bad. Yeah. Okay. Let's continue with the distillery.
Yeah. So this was the spirit still, and now we're heading to the mash tun. And on the right-hand side, you see that pipe from the top, and in that the grist, the ground malt, comes down and is then mixed in a spiral. This horizontally positioned cylinder, copper cylinder. There's a spiral in it and an electric motor with the gear on the right. And with that, and then there's a water pipe coming in, and the water pipe together with the grist, it's mixed up to a mash, and this goes into the mash tun, and this carries several tons of mash, and then it's heated, and so that you do not lose that temperature, that energy from the mash. There's a lid on top of it made from copper. In the very early, in the beginnings, there hadn't been that lid on top. So probably this one is an old one because this mash tun looks a little bit older. There's a wooden clad on it, and the lid looks a little bit more modern. So probably they added it later for energy conservation. And you can see the vapor coming out of the open. So there's this mash in it, and now you put hot water in it, and you solute the sugars out of the barley, out of the mash, and this sugary water is then pumped to the washbacks, also called fermenters, where they are first cooled in an intercooler to preserve energy again, and then they're put in there together with yeast, and there are several yeasts used. So some are working fast for getting high alcohol content in the beginning. Some are working slowly so that you end up with a high alcoholic content in the end. So typically you end up between 8 and 9% ABV in that beer. But this beer has no hops in it. It's not bitter. It's just beer. And here you can see the end of the fermentation. There are only a few bulbs on top of the liquid. You can see all this yeast, which brings this clay color in it. And you see those fermenters are made from softwood. It's some Oregon pine. This is, well, kind of problematic because there are some bacteria in that walls.
The bacteria is problematic, but also it is sometimes they like it because the bacteria favors the lactobacterial fermentation, the milk sour thing that you do with, is it with pickles or with sauerkraut? And that really gives a fruity and nice flavor to the whiskey.
But if you're not clean enough, then the vinegar bacteria stay in that, and then the whole fermenter is lost due to really a sourness, a vinegar sourness. So today, typically modern stainless steel tanks are used, and I haven't seen a difference between those two kinds of fermentation. What really a difference makes is the time of fermentation. The longer,
definitely.
the more compounds are created by the bacteria, by the yeast strains.
Yeah. The thing is, if you go above 74 hours, then you really get this bacteria going on. So if you have a short fermentation, it doesn't matter.
The maximum I heard of was 96 hours. Most of the distillery, I think, are going for 48 hours. So they need yeasts which act very fast in the beginning. Those are those baker's yeasts, I think.
I think the what's it called, the Glenallachie distillery, they have a hugely long fermentation time.
Depends on the amount of the numbers of fermenters you have.
Yeah, they do have a lot also. Yeah,
the big ones and a lot of them. Yeah.
Okay, so we're ending up with the 3 wood. So I have another question.
Yeah, first questions.
Hi guys, why don't you do some review of Big Pete Scotch whiskey? It's really shame. I found the whiskey only on your German version, but you know, smiley face. I do have them in my to-do box. I have the normal one. I think it's the normal one, and the Oktoberfest version that is coming out later this year.
Oktoberfest is coming.
No, it's not the Oktoberfest version. It's the Munich version. We're just going to use them for the Oktoberfest.
Yeah. Okay.
So yeah, I'm gonna review the whiskey as soon as I get to do my to-do box.
Sensible shirt. Horst with a sensible shirt.
Yeah, but that's not all he said. He said that my shirt is sexy or something. Yeah.
Sensible shirt. I have an American brand here. It's Nautica, and it's over 10 years old. And
it's
washed,
a vintage shirt.
It's washed 100 times and still keeps everything.
10 years, it's really good.
So it's really good, and it was really cheap. I bought it in a mall in Orlando, Florida, I think. So incredible. More questions?
What time can you start drinking whiskey? Is 10 a.m. acceptable?
No.
That's probably because you're at a time zone that's 10 a.m. now.
So
depends. If it's like a Sunday or something, then maybe you can do an exception. You shouldn't do it now.
No, you can't.
For you, it's never.
For me, never. So there are a few rules I have.
You can't get drunk on a Sunday at 10 a.m. You can't do that, but you can do a whiskey tasting.
So
with
we're
one or two.
living here in Bavaria, in southern Bavaria, and there's very typical on Sunday morning you go to the pub and you have some morning beer.
Morning beers.
Some white sausages and brezel. So that's Bavarian, but I don't like that. For me, it's if I'm driving, bicycle, cars, whatever, nothing, zero. And then I taste alcoholic beverages in the evening. So in summer, when it's getting dark at 10 p.m., then, well, I start at 9. But typically, I just start when it's dark.
Yeah, for me, it's a bit... When it's hot, you don't drink alcohol.
No, never, yes.
It's sometimes when you have in Germany, we have a Radler. That's
mixture.
Soda pop, or what you call it, like a Sprite and a beer mixed.
Mm-hmm.
So it's not that heavy. You can do that only if it's really cold. But the thing is, when you have a beer in the morning, just the whole day is just a bit too strange.
I had a whiskey at 36 degrees centigrade. This is 100 degrees Fahrenheit, isn't it, or more?
36 is pretty much 100 Fahrenheit, yeah.
Yeah, and I had been
Maybe
at the
95.
World Wacken Open Air Festival.
Oh god, the Wacken Open Air.
And I had this whiskey, a special whiskey, and so we had some customers at the Wacken Festival, and then we had the tasting at 36 degrees centigrade. It was incredible, but it tastes different.
Yeah, it definitely tastes different.
Yeah,
definitely.
And it was so aromatic, and it was so blooming and damping. Very good. So this is, at first, there's more alcohol in it.
Yeah, definitely.
It's how much? 43.
43.
Just the ABV. You can smell it. And then there's a very lot of sherry in it, and there's those citrus notes moving over to oranges. And vanilla, toffee, orange juice, darker fruit, very pleasant, a light alcoholic note on top. Yeah.
It's strange that they don't give a age statement. They say it's 10 years plus 2 years, but you really do feel it's a more complex whiskey as you have the PX, and the Oloroso gives it a fruity note with the berries, cherries. It's definitely one of these, berry type whiskeys, and it's not as deep and dark as the 12-year-old. It's a little bit lighter, or is it more of a...
I made a mistake. I'm sorry for that.
What did you say?
I said about a port cask. but I mixed it up with an Irish one. This is really North American white oak, Oloroso sherry, and Pero Jimenez. Yeah, and Pero Jimenez is a sherry which is not fully fermented, so there's residual sugar in it. Gives a sweeter note.
Did it used to have carry an age statement? There's also a question here. I
They
think to remember that they carried an age
I
statement.
think they had a 14 years.
14.
14, yes.
So he said 10 years from the
They had 14 years, and
Okay.
I'm not quite sure if it was written on with big letters on it. I don't know. I don't think so, but it was mentioned somewhere, and
But they dropped it, so
yeah, they dropped it. And they're able to drop it because the alcohol from the stills is so smooth.
ooh, we didn't even say that. Auchentoshan, translated from Gaelic, it means corner of the field. Are they in the corner of the field, or is that just before the city grew?
So this sweet note is from the PX. Yeah. The citrus moves to oranges, and this additional sweetness is due to the PX, the Pero Jimenez sherry. And the Oloroso sherry is fully fermented and shows just fruitiness. Both are oxidized, therefore the darker color come from. And oxidized means dark fruit.
Definitely, it's more settled. It feels older.
It feels older. It mustn't be. No, it mustn't be.
Mustn't? Doesn't have. I find that strange in the English language. I can't hold up with mustn't and needn't. Which one is the you don't? You can't even say that in English properly. Is that it doesn't contain 14-year-old whiskey if I say it mustn't contain 14-year-old whiskey? Or it doesn't need to be?
It doesn't have to.
Okay. People are really chatty today.
The mouth feel is really big in comparison to both others. So really strong in my mouth. The casks show oakiness, shows light chocolate in it, and mouth-watering starts. So there's a big volume of whiskey in it. You're smiling from the whiskey or from the comments?
It's a nice one. It has a bit more kick with you realize the alcohol is a bit higher, just a little bit. And it's sweeter with more of a even more of a fruity character. It kind of goes into the range of a cherry bomb. So it's nice. It's when you want to have that sweet sip of a nice, balanced, easy to drink whiskey, because it's still the triple distillation. You still realize you have a Auchentoshan lowland whiskey that is just smooth, easy drinking. It doesn't attack you very much. It carries a reasonable amount of flavors.
Yeah, and compare those three. So this one is covering everything. So even the 12-year-old is not that strong. Definitely. Lighter, darker.
Well, here are the people who told me what need not and must not it means. Need not is casual. You need not drink more whiskey tonight, and must not mention the war is the hard one. And there's a German translation. Must not, darf nicht. Okay, so now we have it. I'm gonna forget it again. So yeah.
Yeah, more questions?
Let's have a verdict. Which one did you find the best one?
So I smelled on all those three, and after smelling at the triple wood. The 12 was very light.
It really depends on what you like to have. If you want to have a really light lowland whiskey, then the American Oak is the winner. If you want to have the fruity light one, 3 wood is the winner. For me, the 12-year-old is the winner because it's just, you realize you have a nice lowlander combined with a maturity.
When I'm sniffing at the American Oak, it's definitely younger than the 3 wood.
Yeah, but it's lighter. It's definitely lighter than the 3 wood. The 3 wood has more oomph.
So I definitely prefer the 3 wood because it's the most intense one. I don't think that it's that light. I think it's for...
Yeah, the American Oak is the light one. Yeah. The 3 wood is the heavy one.
Yes.
Definitely. But I like the 12-year-old.
I'm going for the...
the 3 wood. 3 wood, yeah. Nice.
So there we still have 10 minutes to go. Let's have a few questions, please.
Every time you say Cherry Bomb, I think of the Cherry Bomb by the Runaways. Cherry Bomb by the Runaways. Is that a music track? I always think about the Cherry Bomb from the what do you call it? Isn't it the company Cherry Bomb that makes the, what do you call it, silencers for the cars? I have one of them in my car. Not quite sure if they're legal in Germany. Would you say it's dangerously good sipping?
Dangerously good sipping is, I didn't say it this time, but I said it last time, I think. Dangerously good sipping is you might get too much of it if you can't hold on yourself. So this is dangerous.
There was a discussion about going on about Bastille whiskey. We're not quite sure. Have you ever heard of that?
Best-selling whiskey?
No, Bastille whiskey. Sounds French.
Bastille.
Bastille.
No, there are a lot of, whiskeys from the supermarket chains out there, and they use, good sounding whiskey names, but they do not belong to any distillery. So we try with every whiskey we have to nail them down to the distillery. What's the roots? Where does it come from? And all those different names, even if you have a blended whiskey with a famous name, then we try to look up which distilleries work for them. So it's what's called the pedigree.
Pedigree has a meaning?
Stammbaum.
Stammbaum. Oh, okay. Never knew that. I only thought pedigree. Oh, dog food.
Yeah. Have you seen our dog food video?
Oh no.
Did we take it only in German or in English as well?
I think we took it in English as well.
Dog food, cat food.
Oh, that was.
I remember. Good. Yeah.
The cat food was the worst. Dog food was okay.
I still had some throwing up a week later.
What is best-selling brand of whiskey in your store from Strasnodimik Daimk?
There's a leading number or group of whiskies, and they typically all come from the Isle of Islay.
Yeah, Islay is definitely.
And they, from one year, the ones from Islay's south coast.
Islay South Coast is the
Lagavulin, Lafroig, and Ardbeg.
Yeah,
they are the three which typically compete.
It used to be the Lagavulin 16 used to be like way up front, and I think now they're pretty
leveling up, and so Lagavulin just has the 16-year-old, the Distiller's Edition, and the 8-year-old in the moment. And others like Lafroig, they have the 10-year-old, the quarter cask, the triple cask, the 18-year-old, the loft, no, how it's
15, 24, 25, 30.
32, and then some no-age statement whiskies.
And they sell to Signatory and all the others?
No, not any longer.
You get them, don't you?
So they have more, and if you add all those up, you get more, and this is because they have more stills.
Yeah.
They have definitely more stills.
I think they want to have plans for expansion as well. Not quite sure. I had a chat with David Campbell 2015. something like that. Yeah. What is the best-selling? Oh, well, you already had that one. Where in Germany is your store? Everywhere. We're an online store.
So we're virtual.
Yeah. So we're in the south of Germany, but we don't have a. We're in a very small town.
So we have no parking places. We have no store where we sell.
We don't sell.
We ship.
We ship.
Yeah.
So there is actually nothing to see here. We have the studio and then
offices.
That's it.
And computers. A lot
of computers. If you have an online store, you need computers. So, have you guys been to Miami Beach?
Of course.
How old was I?
Yeah.
8. I was 8 when we visited. But I wanted to go when I spent my 2 months in America as an exchange for my MBA now. But we didn't go. We didn't go to Miami because more expensive, and then we ended up going to New Orleans, which was also nice. Yeah, the 8-year-old is not limited.
No, it was the 200th anniversary of the distillery.
Yeah, they wanted to do unlimited, but then I think they wanted to sell.
Yeah.
What is your opinion of blending whiskies yourself?
Well, I did some experiments lately, and it's not that difficult to produce a good blend, but to produce an excellent blend, it's not that easy. So bringing out a blended whiskey suitable for the supermarket is easy. For, well, a little bit upselling, possible, but the top ones, this is really difficult.
Yeah, the thing is, blending is an art. Blending is really difficult. You can really make a really good whiskey if you have the possibilities. I've experienced the Japanese culture of whiskey, and they're really, really strong with the blending, because the master blender in the Japanese distillery is the highest in rank. So he is ordering around all the distillers to make stuff for him, so he has enough choice to blend the perfect whiskey. So you can really make a good blend, but you have to know what you're doing.
Yeah.
You have to know what you're doing.
And
I've met a few guys who are really good.
Branding is an artisan work, and single malt whiskey is a selection work. So one is building up, and the other is selecting casks you find okay.
The thing is, if you have, let's say, a 3-wood or 12-year-olds, it's still a blending process.
There are still master blenders in those distilleries,
because
you have to find those
the mixture between the different casks. If you have 3 wood, means 3 casks in it, you have to mix them together to find the flavor you want to create. So,
but the huge amounts of the volume of bottles brings some equalization. So it's not that difficult. You have to sort out the bad casks, and you have to sort out the very excellent casks, because you can sell them for a lot more, and the rest together, well, it's just looking after the percentages of each.
Okay, when we come to blending, then we have last slide.
Yeah, this is the main warehouse, which you can see from the street where we had the picture of. And here, these warehouses have to be locked against unallowed access. And so they put windows in, huge windows, where you can have a look at those casks. And they added some stones, some gravel on the ground, so that they look better than they are. But these stones are not good for the maturation of the whiskey. The best is to have just the stamped clay ground, where the moisture rises up and helps the cask maturing. And Auchentoshan has a lot of different casks. There had been very high-end bottlings of special casks, but I say 90% of those whiskies, no, that's wrong, 50% of those whiskies go out in the blending process somewhere, because lowlands are still looked after in the blend industry, but that is a rough guess, must be true. And Then from the rest, again, 90% is used for the standard bottlings, and then very few go into those excellent rarities, which might end up a few hundred euros, dollars, pounds. Yeah.
Okay, I think we're through with the distillery. And let's do some questions. I found some good questions. In my region, the American oak is same price as Glenfiddich 12. In your opinion, how does the American oak stand up to the classic Glenfiddich 12?
The Glenfiddich 12 has a lot more fruit, a lot more, and it's because it's a mixture of so many casks. It's the average of the output of the Glenfiddich distillery, and this is much lighter than a whiskey that you fill from fresh American white oak. So it will always have more intensity if you have those fresh casks. So this one is from the oak, from the maturation in the cask, it's more mature, more intense, and the fruitiness is less because the Glenfiddich stills are smaller, a lot smaller, and they deliver more taste compounds, fusel oils, or whatever. And here you have this triple distilled. So the distillery character of Glenfiddich is stronger, and the maturation from the cask is less.
Yeah. Okay, so Ben, where did you get your MBA? Didn't get my MBA yet. I'm still writing on my master thesis. It's gonna be cool. I can tell you the master thesis. I did something that I can present and use as marketing for the company because I'm writing a business plan. Hopefully I'm gonna finish and hopefully I'm gonna graduate. I'm on page 34 and 35 or something like that, and it's opening a whiskey distillery. So stay tuned. I will present it at some point. Mm-hmm. Hopefully in English too. I think it's in written. It's going to be written in German, so maybe I'll translate it if I'm feeling really good.
Google Translate it.
Yeah, Google Translate is the best. Yeah. Also, there was someone who said you can switch on the subtitles for the German video. That's really bad, man.
But I think they will improve.
They will improve, but they're still. I haven't. To be honest, I haven't used them for a year. Maybe they got better. Yeah. And the OBS, the streaming software, actually has something like that as well. I haven't tried it yet. What would be considered a top-notch blended whiskey? Johnny Walker 18 is pretty good.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
Chivas Regal 30.
The 18 is not too bad.
Dewar's 30.
Dewar's Signature. Mm-hmm.
There are quite some whiskies out there.
Yeah. But what the range had been 60 to 300. We just mentioned here.
60
euros, dollars, pounds to 300.
Yeah,
so they
definitely
were quite expensive blends.
Horst, will you review the Elijah Craig small batch?
This would be your turn.
Would be my turn. Yeah. I really like the Elijah Craig. It's a Heaven Hill brand.
Yeah.
And I have tried the Elijah Craig. Was it the small batch as well? I think I had the small batch, the 12 and the 18 at the Heaven Hill Heritage Center in the outskirts of Bardstown, and it was amazing. It was really good.
Did you take a video?
No, it was just we just had filming, and we were not allowed to. We didn't have a private tour because got something mixed up with the appointments. We only got a private tour at the distillery, and so we just took a few videos of the warehouses, and then we just did the normal tour with the tourists. But in the end, you got I think the small batch 12 and 18. I'm not sure about the small batch, but the 12 and 18 were just amazing whiskies. So small batch is
I had the 12-year-old several years ago, and then it was darker than today. It was really darker.
Mm-hmm. OBS, Oloroso broadcast software. Nice play on words. I guess something like Chivas Royal Salute Oh yeah, that was the answer to the question before.
Yeah.
Okay, so I think we're running out of questions. So
we're ending up with 69.
69,
70.
Oh.
So, but they are not completely accurate, those figures, aren't they?
Yeah, now we're down to 66. they're not completely accurate. They have 10% up and down. So, the thing is, just you do the ending now. Find the button where to click on to end this stuff.
So,
I think it's here. End streaming. Yeah, that's the button.
So I apologize for all these problems we had a fortnight ago and starting here with, in the end, mixing up times because of daylight saving time. There's at
this time it was not daylight saving time.
Give me this excuse. It was so weird.
There was an EU. We mixed one time. We mixed up because of the daylight saving time. Yeah. But there was a petition. I actually signed it. Did you sign it?
I signed it as
You signed it?
So to end.
To end. But did you say wintertime or summertime?
It doesn't matter. Either.
Just not changing it.
Not changing.
I said winter. I like wintertime more.
Yeah, probably.
Okay. So thank you very much for watching. There will be no outro, so thank you very much and see you next time.